Okay, I think we started the live once again. Let's just have a look. Yes, looks like we may be live now on YouTube. Fantastic. Thank you, Andre. Legend. Fantastic. Okay, so we can begin. Yeah, so I would like to welcome everyone to Think Capital YouTube channel as well as X. We are live right now, and those who are catching up on the recording, welcome. It's good to have you guys. Just make sure. Okay. And I'd like to introduce myself for those who don't know me. My name is Rodrigo Antonio, and I'm a performance and psychology coach. And I've been involved with in the markets and coaching traders for the past decade. And I've got a lot of trading experience as well as coaching experience, being able to help traders in transform and be able to reprogram a lot of their impulsive behaviors. And I've been able to coach hundreds of traders, uh, and they've been able to overcome a lot of the psychological hurdles, like fear of missing out, revenge trading, and essentially helping them achieve consistent results and securing millions in funded accounts. So this is my passion, and my passion is in essentially giving you guys the tools, the mental frameworks in order to master your emotions and thrive in these markets, because there is so much opportunity in the markets, but we have certain psychological conditioning that holds us back, such as fear of missing out. And that's today's topic. I want to cover with you fear of missing out in a lot of detail, and where it actually manifests, where it comes from, because the more we understand where this fear comes from, the better we are at identifying it and not allowing it to create problems in our trading, not allowing it to essentially cause us to behave in ways we don't want to behave, such as trying to catch and chase price. Because when this happens, we all know how that ends, and it's not productive with our time at all. So I want to dive deep into some of the ways that FOMO manifests, but also where it comes from. Let's go back. I want to go back to our childhood. I want you guys to understand and reflect back on where does FOMO actually begin? Because it's really important to actually identify this. And I want to just give a shout out to everyone in the chat. Love to see you guys active. Fantastic. Let us know where you're from, country, city. I recognize some of you guys already from previous. Hey, what's up, Mano? Zeta FX, Ibrahim. So good to see you guys again. I love the support from you guys. Really makes a difference. Let's make this one a really good interactive. Any questions that come up, just write it down, type it in the chat, and then in about 30-45 minutes, I'll be covering your questions. All right. Oh, shout out from Houston, from Royal Rockets. Fantastic. We got Ethiopia in the house. Is that South Florida? Fantastic. Welcome. Welcome. So today's topic is really, really interesting. I've always discussed these topics with my clients whenever sometimes I'm in a coaching call, and we really want to understand where FOMO comes from. So I thought I'll share with you some of the insights that come from it. It's so interesting. Go ahead and share my screen. Here we go. Good. All right. Let me make sure. Let's do this layout properly. Speaker, full screen, picture in picture. Okay, I think this is good. Everyone can see the screen. Just type a one in the chat. All good. All right. So let's discuss how FOMO and where it comes from and what exactly it is, because this is going to be a very useful conversation. Okay. A lot of us, in fact, everybody experiences some level of FOMO. Some are just better than others at not allowing it to be a constant plague in your trading. So, what is FOMO? FOMO can manifest in different ways and essentially stands for fear of missing out. And it's an anxiety, it's a form of fear. And it FOMO can manifest not just in your trading, but also in your personal life. And essentially, it's when you suffer some sort of anxiety when there is a potential reward and you're not part of that reward. Okay, there's some rewarding experience that you are not part of, but you wish to be part of. Now, this can be amplified when you have access to social media, because it's very easy for us to see how other people are performing, how people are living, how other traders are um, performing in their trades in terms of how much funding they have, how much payouts they've received, where they live, even what they had for breakfast. Yeah, it's when we start comparing our life to everyone else, you start to experience this feeling of scarcity, as in you don't have enough, or what you have is just um, it's nothing compared to what these guys have. Those who are doing better than you. So there's this level of lack, like you lack the funding, you lack the money, you lack the lifestyle, you lack it because you see others having it. And this is very problematic. It's a massive problem, and social media in the last 20 years or so, it's just made it worse. Okay. By nature, we always compare ourselves to others. Yeah. and and yeah, social media just really just amplifies this to next levels, because every few seconds you can check social media and then you'll see all of the influencers, celebrities. You just bombarded with all these images, and the way everything is edited these days is just like in your face. Okay. And those who are celebrated in society are the sports stars, the movie stars, the musicians. Yeah, these are people who are idolized, unfortunately. And these are people who are become the heroes of society. And so when you compare yourself to these people, which is a very unrealistic thing to do, there's this feeling of anxiety of, oh, my life sucks compared to these guys. And this has a huge impact on your trading decisions. This also has an impact in your day-to-day life. Yeah. So let's discuss how FOMO it begins in childhood. Yeah. Now, there's always going to be a moment where you as a child, just think back to a moment where you felt excluded. You felt excluded either because your siblings got a bigger piece of the chocolate. cake. Or in school, everyone in the team was chosen and you were the last one to be chosen. And then you had to be benched because now the teams were even, you're the odd one out, you end up missing out on the game. Yeah. These are, there's so many different situations where we feel excluded. That could also become because of, it could be the way we look, where we come from, the way we speak. In some cases, we're excluded because of how much money our parents make. Yeah. And in some cases, we are bullied. We're bullied when we get excluded from certain groups or certain things. And this is and this happens to everyone in one way or another. But for some, it can be quite traumatic. It can stay with you for a very long time, but you can bury it in your subconscious. And we're always comparing, right? We're always comparing. There's always that sibling tension that occurs. Oh, they've got something, I want it. Yeah. And when this happens, there's a lot of unmet emotional needs that occur because in a lot of times, many cases where we're left to deal with that emotion ourselves. And in most cases, we don't deal with it properly. It's not being dealt properly. It's not explained to us properly. Um, and some parents actually exclude certain children, even though it's their own child. Some parents exclude them because they're older. And so all the younger ones or the youngest, they get all the praise, they get all the attention. Oh, you're older, you don't need it. You're older, it's fine. Um, Suck it up, deal with it. And so you got this sibling rivalry. The oldest can sometimes feel excluded, and they have a lot of unmet emotions. Yeah. And in some cases, there's some parenting styles which can be quite, some parenting styles can cause a lot of FOMO as from a young age. Like I've just explained. Yeah, your parents might exclude you from certain things. It could be based on punishment or reward. Yeah. And so then there's this feeling of FOMO. In some cases, like the way I p- the way I try to discipline my daughter is, for example, giving her a chore list. And if she does those chores, if she cleans up her room every day, then I'll take her to the cinema on the weekend, for example. Yeah. So then there's this there's this feeling of FOMO, right? If she doesn't clean her room, she's not going to get the reward, right? So then I'm almost amplifying those feelings of her missing out, potentially missing out, if she doesn't clean up her room. So you can't get away with fear of missing out. It is just deep rooted in the way we we are as humans. But what ends up happening, unfortunately, is that children from a young age, they create this belief, and that belief is that they're not good enough. Yeah, they're not good enough unless they have what others have. And let's say in school, there's some kids that are born with very good memory recall. And having good memory is actually correlated with having good grades in school. Some kids, they have such good memory that they don't need to revise as much. They listen once or twice, and it just the information is just retained. Whereas some other children, they work so hard, they study, 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 but when it comes to the examination, they just forget things because of the pressure. Yeah. So memory recall plays a big role in doing good in school in some ways. But you could also work really, really hard, and you can retain more information, and you can, you know, get, improve your memory over time. For some, it's just they have that talent, right? They just have that skill. And in many cases, those kids that maybe perhaps they try a little bit, they try hard for a month or two, and then they still fail, then it's like they see what others have, and and they start gaining these beliefs of I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough because I am not in the top grades. I am not getting those. I'm not passing my tests. It could also be in the sports team. Oh, I'm too fat. I'm too slow. I'm too short. I can't play basketball. I'm too tall. I can't play football. It's like we manifest these beliefs from a young age, and that's why it's important to understand the kind of experiences you have as a child, because and understand the beliefs that you generate as a child, especially when it comes to things like FOMO. So how does FOMO manifest into adulthood? Yeah. Actually, it'll be good for those in the chats. I can see you guys are really active. What example, when did you experience that feeling of not being good enough when you were a child? Was it to do with sports? Was it to do with school? Was it in your family? Was it with your siblings? It'll be good if you can share that, and I'll be interested to see how does it manifest into adulthood. Okay, so FOMO can manifest in your relationships, your lifestyle, your career, again, social media. Because as we get older, you know, when we start working, when we start moving out of our parents' home, when we start to develop friendships, relationships, when we get married, and when we start seeing other people benefiting, or at least they're improving, they're moving on, they are upgrading their life in many different ways: health, wealth, marriage, children. It's very easy to feel also like, oh, I'm just not good enough. These people have achieved what I want. I've tried, but I'm not able to. I don't have the same opportunities. I don't live in those countries. My parents weren't rich. I've come from a poor background. We come up with we're only in these different situations that cause us to experience FOMO naturally, okay? Because we we all deserve a comfortable life, right? Every human being deserves the basic needs, okay? We all deserve it, but unfortunately, not everyone does. And so, what this does, it creates this internal scarcity. It's like I lack health, wealth, marriage, children, house, education. I lack these things, money. I lack the trading skills. I lack the funding. I lack the certificates, and so on and so on. And so you live in this perpetual sort of constant scarcity mindset. And this is a problem. This is a big problem, because when you are trading and you have this type of thinking, this is going to cause you to gamble. It's going to cause you to over leverage, over trade. It's going to cause you to not want to miss out on the moves. So recently we saw indices drop significantly, historical drops on indices. And it's very easy to, if feel like you're missing out on the move because you weren't in the trade. Especially when you go on social media and you see others taking those trades, and you think, how on earth did they know? So this leads to this feeling of dissatisfaction, discontentment, ingratitude. And then this causes more impulsivity, because internally you're internally you're programmed to be impulsive. So what do we do? That's the question. What do we do, guys? Yes, Ibrahim. Gratitude, he says, gratitude is very important. Being grateful for what you have will help a lot. Yes, I agree. Gratitude is so important. You got to practice it at least 3 to 5 times a day. Yeah. I'm fortunate because in my religion, I pray 5 times a day, Alhamdulillah. So I'm grateful at least 5 times a day. So I encourage everyone else to develop a practice of gratitude multiple times a day because it does help you. So how does FOMO manifest in your trading? Well, are you chasing trades? Are you over leveraging? Do you keep breaking your rules? Be honest, guys. Which one of these do you keep doing? Just type it in the chats. And are your decisions dominated by rational strategic thinking based on probability, probabilistic outcomes, and your focus on the process, or is are your decisions dominated by your emotions? Because that's what's been happening since you were a child. All Most of your decisions have been based on strong emotions because we're trying to fit in. We want to live that life. We want to be in that circle. We want that job. We want those top grades. We want to get into that university. There's this constant emotional drive to want to have what others have. And so in your trading is where everything is amplified. Is where emotions are 10x. Emotions are so strong in your trading compared to your regular life because now you're dealing with money. Okay. When you deal with money, the worst parts of us come out. Okay. So we got traders right now in the chats who are dealing with over leveraging, they're dealing with fear of losing. And what this creates is this cycle of impulsivity. There's a cycle of anxiety, impulsivity in your personal life and in your trading. And this has to change. Something has to change because if something doesn't change now, where are you going to be in 12 months time? You're going to be in the same place, right? And that's not what we're here for. That's not why you started, is it? It's not what you deserve after putting in so much effort into this. Trading is difficult. Yeah. Being on these type of webinars, taking our time out of our days to be here, it's challenging. Some of you may be driving, some of you are maybe in the gym, some of you are on a break at work. You're taking the time to develop yourself, but where are the results? And so it's dealing with FOMO in trading is very difficult. So let's talk about what signs. Okay, what triggers FOMO? It's usually triggered by um, big moves. Yeah, if there's big sharp moves on your entry time frame. In most cases, you've done your analysis, you've got your drawn liquidity or your target, your point of interest, and then suddenly price starts moving without you. And so you don't want to miss the move. That triggers an impulsive decision. And if you find yourself constantly checking the charts, you feel this anxiety. These are signs that you're suffering from FOMO in your trading. Do you feel regret after your losing trades? What about your winning trades? Be honest. You know, when you exit a trade in profit and then afterwards you're like, oh man, I should have held that trade longer. Instead of coming out, I've only got a 1 to 2 R. Price went up to 1.5 R. I should have held it. I'm such an idiot. I missed out on all that profit. Does that happen to you? I know it does. I hear it all the time from my clients. These are the signs that occur. So what can we do to identify FOMO? Well, you need to have a very robust pre-session process. Okay, you want to be tracking your process with checklists. You want to have your flow chart of decisions and your strategy. You want to be playbooking, so you want to review past A plus setups so you know exactly what you're looking for, and you want to start journaling. Yeah, always be journaling, always be taking notes, so you're always aware of what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Yeah, some there are some of my clients, I get them to record their sessions like on a webcam, microphone, and just talk things out, because they can replay and watch that tape over the weekend and spot some of the behavioral patterns, spot the emotional patterns, and start. And what you want to be doing is you want to start labeling and tagging the emotions that you experience. I've got clients that are even grading their emotions from 1 to 10. So you experience fear. What does fear at level 1 feel like compared to level 5? What about fear at level 10? How does that manifest? Yeah. And what are you going to do about it? When you experience fear at these levels, what are you going to do about it? So ensure that you have a checklist. So if you do suffer from FOMO, have a checklist that is going to help you avoid decisions based on fear of missing out. Avoid these emotional decisions that are dominating your thinking right now. And you got to also be able to manage your FOMO in your personal life. Yeah. You have to become someone that is content, someone that is grateful, someone that you own your situation. You're grateful for your situation. And if you find yourself comparing too much to others on social media, then get off social media. It's not good for you anyway. Unless you're using social media for educational purposes, or you're using it for a business, it actually produces an income for you, get off social media. You don't need it. Yeah. Particularly Instagram, TikTok, X. There's very little value you can get from these platforms. YouTube, you can find more education on YouTube for sure, but you can also waste a lot of time on YouTube. There's so much entertainment, so much distraction. Guys, don't stop getting so distracted. Yeah, really fix up. If you're struggling with FOMO in your trading, then you need to start fixing up your personal life too. Be clear on your values. Write down your values, at least 8 values: discipline, consistency, resilience, yeah, health and fitness, mindfulness, being present with your family. These are all different values that you need to be living by. What are your goals? How are you breaking down these goals into daily actionable steps? What's your 3-year goal, 1 year goal? What's your next 90-day goal? What's your next monthly goal? What's your weekly goal? What's your goal from now until next week? How are you going to break all of these down into a routine, into habits? Yeah, that's how you properly set goals. Yeah, it's all about action. And yeah, practicing gratitude. Every day, practice gratitude. If you think you've got nothing to be grateful for, then you need a slap in the face to wake up. Wake up and realize, wow, you've got lungs, you've got eyes, you've got ears, you got a mouth, you got a healthy stomach. You can actually eat. You got taste buds. Can you taste your food? Can you smell your food? Alhamdulillah. Be grateful. Yeah, just because trading's not working for you right now doesn't mean you should stop you from being grateful. This is going to help you guys. Yeah, gratitude, being really grateful in the moment, it gets rid of stress, gets rid of anxiety, it gets rid of fear. Because when you experience real gratitude, your body is releasing huge amounts of serotonin and dopamine. And anxiety, stress, FOMO, it produces cortisol. So gratitude, it is the antidote to stress, anxiety, and depression. Gratitude is the key. Yeah, that's why all major religions, they talk about gratitude, don't they? It's for a reason. Yeah. So how can we reprogram ourselves for trading? Well, you need to have rules-based strategies. You need to be very clear on how you forecast, how you have to be very clear in your pre-session process. You have to be clear in your entry model, very clear on how you manage that trade, position sizes, risk management. How are you managing your portfolio, your personal finances? You need to have a system for personal finances. How are you budgeting for these evaluations, for your TradingView subscription, for your bills? Are you working? How much of that goes towards your business? How much of it goes towards family? Some of you can't afford to trade. Some of you are trading and you're not even working. Some of your, how can you start a business with no money? You got to then fix up. You got to get yourself a job, get yourself some education, get yourself a better job, make some money, save up, then look to start a business. Don't come into trading completely broke, thinking that you're going to be able to succeed. Scared money doesn't make money. Yeah. You need you need to give yourself the best chances of success. So you want to build some stability in your life, you want to have some savings, and then you want to invest that into your development, education, and into the software, the tech stack that you need in order to trade effectively. And you want to have at least 1 years of all of this sorted so that you don't have to trade to pay your bills. Yeah. And it's important not to quit your job right away just to trade full time. If you haven't been consistent for at least 6 months, you shouldn't be quitting your job. Still work. Yeah, develop a strategy or find a strategy that you can do alongside your employment. Yeah, that you could do. If you trade afternoons, then find a job you can do in the mornings. If you trade the mornings, find a job that you can work in the afternoon, evening. Yeah, very, very important to have some income in your life outside of trading, especially in the first couple of years. I found that visualization and mental rehearsals is powerful. Mentally rehearse yourself constantly, looking for your A plus setup, following your rules, managing risk, walking away after a big win, walking away after your loss, walking away when there's no valid setup. Mentally rehearse yourself. Even visualize yourself being grateful. Visualize yourself being disciplined. It's very important to do this on a regular basis. And not enough of you are doing this. Yeah, not enough of you are celebrating discipline over outcome. Most traders are celebrating only when they win the trade, when they're green on the day, when they pass the evaluation, when they get funded, when they get their payout. That's when they're all happy and celebrate. When they win the trade. When was the last time you celebrated following your rules and the process, following your morning, evening routine? When was the last time you celebrated that instead of the outcome of the trade? I've got my clients celebrating these things. So even if they finish the day or the week red, I look at their process, I look at their habit tracker, I look at and I see, okay, how was your week? Smashed it. But you're red on the week, that's fine. Well done. You get respect for that. You get acknowledgement for that. You get praise for that. Because it's about it's process over outcome. Very, very important, guys. So in summary, FOMO is fear of missing out is an emotional pattern that has manifested itself from childhood. Yeah, because it's this feeling of lack, this feeling of being excluded from from the pleasure and enjoyment of something, of what others. It could be something you developed in school, with family. We all experience some level of FOMO when we're young, but some of us have a lot of unmet emotions from that age, and now it's problematic in our adulthood. And this these emotional driven decisions that are dominating your thinking and your decision making, it's just sabotaging your trading. And until you have the right tools, the right support, the right systems, you're going to just keep you're not you're going to continue to have that unmet emotion, and you're going to react and respond, and you're going to deal with it on the charts, and we all know how that ends. So make sure you're developing your awareness. Make sure you develop the tools in your journaling, in your process, your pre-management. Make sure you get yourself the right support. That's something that I'm very passionate about. I enjoy working with people, helping them deal with these types of impulsive behaviors. My job is to transform traders, reprogram their thinking so that they become high performance individuals in all areas of life. And make sure that these systems are also aligned with your personality and your routines. Okay. So figure out how you can reduce FOMO in your personal life as well as in your trading. When you start doing this, you start noticing that the impact that this has. All right. So I hope that was valuable for you guys. I'll answer some questions in the last 10 minutes. Let's see. Stream. Okay. Oh, you guys in the chat have been very active. A lot of love, a lot of support. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm really glad you guys got lots of value here today. Let's see. I'm looking for questions. Oh, by the way, if you find lots of value from this content, make sure you're following me as well on Instagram and YouTube. Instagram, it's rodrigo.trader.coach. And on YouTube is Funded Trader Coaching. Wow, VJ says, bro, this video literally solved my biggest confusion about support and resistance. That's funny. I was talking about FOMO and he's talking about support resistance. Maybe it's the support and resistance of his FOMO. Maybe that's what you mean. Okay, we've got a question here from Ibrahim. So yeah, question from Ibrahim. What should I do if my FOMO setups play out a lot while the ones I'm waiting patiently for play out less? Okay, so I'm assuming that these setups are occurring very quickly before they are confirmed, and then they end up reaching your predefined target. I'm assuming that this is what you mean. In this case, if you see this happening more often than not, that means you need to develop and you need to backtest an early entry strategy. So you have your core strategy, which doesn't play as often, but then you have your early entry strategy. So then this one, you start off with lower risk, but then eventually it might even become your core strategy. And then the one with more confirmations, the later entry, this may be a different, have a different risk profile. But the key thing here is you got to test, okay, Ibrahim, you got to test, you got to have 200-300 examples on a back test, on a spreadsheet, look at the data, and if it has an edge, if it has uh, positive expected value, great, you've just developed a new entry model. Okay, good. I'm glad that was helpful for you. Any more questions, guys? When there's not that many questions, that probably means I answered most of the questions already. Okay, looks like there's no more questions. In that case, everyone, I want to wrap it up. We can make it nice, short, sharp, and sweet. I want to thank once again the Think Capital team for inviting me today. And of course, all of the Think Capital traders, the community has been amazing. Every single webinar, you guys have been so supportive. And I'm looking forward to the next one. We'll be releasing more information about the topic for the next call. Once again, thank you. I've really enjoyed today, and I hope that this deep dive into FOMO, fear of missing out, and how it manifests from childhood, how it then continues to to manifest in our adulthood and in our trading, how problematic it can be, and some solutions and I hope these solutions you're able to actually take action on and start implementing. Because if you don't solve this, then yeah, this is going to be a big problem. And I know that FOMO is such a massive issue for traders. So on that note, take care, everyone. Thank you so much for attending. And don't forget to send this video over to another trader who suffers from FOMO but couldn't make it today. So make sure you share this content. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.